Welcome back to another Fire Friday, guys. This one is exactly like the title. It's going to be on fire, like an explosion, like something you've never seen before, because that is who my good friend Joe Brikman is, someone that I am so honored to have met probably about a year ago, earlier on this year. And ever since I met him, this guy has just inspired me from day one. Joe, welcome to Fire Friday. This is something I've been doing for a while, almost 3 years. Kind of took a little break over the last few months, playing some replays, but this is the first live we've done in a while. So I'm excited that I get to do it with you. And as the title says, right, Fire Friday, dream, motivate, and inspire the real estate industry into the future. But we all have a story. We all are people. We've all overcome challenges. We're all going out there and just working on ourselves, my friend. So this is why you were invited, because you have such a remarkable story. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for having me. Since we've met, I feel like there's been this crazy, awesome connection of, in the beginning, it was just surprise. And then it was, wow, she's actually real. And then it was, and then it was like, oh my God, like she delivers on what she says, which is like very, very rare in this business. And when, I see that, and because I'm somebody who does that, like I know that it only makes sense for us to partner up, and here we are. So it's been an amazing like 4 months, and I'm really excited for the next infinity of really building this out. So yeah, very excited and honored to be here. Thank you.
You know what's so funny about you is that every time I talk to you, I learn something new. I am like, get out of here. Really? You did that? You're doing this. And you just like, I think, regardless of us being in real estate, you have such a remarkable story of everything you've been able to experience at your young age. And, just for the record, Joe, what are you, about 26-ish?
I'll be 26 in December.
26.
Yep.
I get, like, I think back, I have a 26-year-old son. So like I could be your mom, and not that I'm aging myself, but I could be your mom. But like you are so well traveled, just so experienced in business at such a young age. And it's really exciting to see a young leader like you pretty much lead others into the future. So thank you for doing that. Let's start a little bit with your story. Like, I know we're in real estate, but let's talk pre-real estate. What did your world look like before real estate? And then we're going to talk about what everybody wants to know. You have crushed it in 23 months in real estate, selling well over, what are we at, 60 million?
Yeah, we're gonna close out Q like this month at like 57
million in such a short amount of time. And already just crushing it, made a name for yourself with a modern agent, and how your approach and your philosophy is about what a modern agent is. But before that, who's Joe?
Yeah, so Joe is somebody who has been really trying to figure out what makes him happy and what gives him fulfillment in life. And throughout that journey, Joe's been like going through a lot of trauma rehabilitation, I would call it. And throughout that whole process, it's led me through a lot of very interesting paths. I appreciate the compliment from someone like you, calling me well traveled, and and the road to
May not be glamorous, right?
Hey, listen, it's not, right? How many times has it been that you're grabbing that bag out of your car and you're running to catch the flight, right? It's not always fun, but at the end of the day, it's always the destination. Everybody always posts the, hey, I made it to Mexico, or hey, I made it here. Nobody posts about the fact that, yo, shit, I almost missed the flight. Yeah. And I realized that a lot of people are focusing more on the highlight stuff, and going through a lot of different types of trauma. Starting off as a very young kid, I put this into the Fixing Broken book, which is one thing that we had connected on, which, I was sexually abused when I was a kid. And then when it had come time to, where I had felt that I was safe enough to be able to start talking about it, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. So when it actually came time to look at, those figures, those people that, we're supposed to rely on to help us out, I had to like kind of just deal with these things on my own, not because nobody cared, but because there was something that was a lot more pressing at hand. And, in the beginning, it was very hard for me to realize and process that. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. And just from a mental standpoint, it was very hard, because it was like, hey, like, we're a family. You care about everybody. You tell me you care about me, but like you're focusing more on the kids. Um, and then throughout that process, I had left school. I had, booked a one-way ticket to Miami. I was living on the street, living on the beach, and I was homeless, and trying to just figure out myself, and kind of how I built all that out. So, skipping through all that stuff, which, I mean, you can go grab the book and see if you really want to know all about it. But I think what we're here for more is talk about the come up, which is, the I was on the beach, I had nothing, and I learned sales. I learned how to start selling cigarettes and cigars and flowers to beachgoers. And I had this thing that I had learned originally, that it was whatever bill they pull out of their wallet, I'm taking that bill home. I don't give change. So I would figure out, like, okay, if they pulled out a 20, how do we go from $4 to $20? And I made a lot of money doing that. And because of the way that I had came into, being homeless, it was chaotic. And once I had started making money, I was, I got this penthouse, and I had this opportunity to be staying in this really cool spot, but like I couldn't afford rent a month later because I was busy buying alcohol, buying weed, doing all those things that an 18-year-old who's on the path to be continuously and broke was doing. So from there, I, had refined my little sales game, and I started getting into, over the phone sales. From over the phone sales, that didn't really work out. There was a falling out between myself and usually when you're like number one really quickly, people don't like you. So
That happens. Yep, you make some enemies around the way.
It's that thing that, so kind of went from there to try to figure out, like, hey, this is hey, what's up, buddy? This is this is one of those things that when you're wired, with trauma, you never really have the opportunity to learn how to get out. And I was in what I call the triangle of doom. In my book, I basically explain how, the Egyptian pyramids, they're very, very big, and they're very, very deep, and they're very, very tall. But, sometimes life can feel like you're balancing a pyramid upside down. And it's very, very hard to sit there and balance it because you have it coming from 4 different angles. So that's what my life looked like, from the ages of 18 to 20, 21. I was in and out of 7 different industries in that short of a period of time. Trying to build companies, trying to do things, partners, things. It wasn't working. So at the end, I had went and I had, opened a home security company. I was the ADT guy for all the realtors out here that are watching. I was that guy who was calling you, asking you for that referral to go ahead and install, a system and give it to one of your clients for free on your behalf. Now, here's the thing. We rewired that. So the pitch that we had, instead of saying, hey, can you give me a referral? Instead, it was like, hey, I know you're struggling with leads. I know it's hard for you to get business. Let me show you how to generate leads online. And then once I showed them how to generate the leads online, when I turned around and I would say, hey, listen, now that I know that the lead that I helped you generate is closing, can you just let them know that Joe will give them a call and I'll take care of everything else? And here's the best part. If you do let them know that and they are ready for my call, I'll give you $250. And I was in like East Texas. So people were all over this shit because I was helping them, and
You're bringing value before you do.
Exactly. And I was making the money. And I was actually
showing them how to lead gen.
Yeah. And I was good at what I did. So between all of those things, it was like, okay, well, this is cool. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing it. But then at a certain point, all of the flashbacks, the trauma, and the different sort of like, depressions that I manage and live with really started like taking me over a lot. And it started becoming very hard to justify to myself that I was making all this money and I wasn't happy. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go travel. And I started traveling. Long story short, I ended up in the Army, right, as a paratrooper in the IDF for just under 2 years. Finished there with honors as a full like sergeant and everything. And I had this lucky break to be able to get out of the Army. I had signed 3 more, like a whole bunch of years. And I had this lucky break to be able to get out when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, my home security company was purchased by an Israeli investor. So we were bought out completely. And then from there, I decided to get into commercial financing. But commercial financing is very hard.
Let me just stop you real quick.
Sure.
You talked about some really important things. First of all, thank you for being vulnerable and being you and sharing things that most wouldn't feel comfortable, because this is what Fire Friday is about. It's about inspiring stories. And I think anybody who's listening is probably already just blown away. It takes such a courageous leader to share the things you've already shared, and how you are not afraid to acknowledge trauma and talk about
Right.
it. And of course, most of us perform at a high level. We have some sort of addictive personality, whether
Mhm.
it's work or avoiding the pain that we experience as a child or something traumatic that happened to us, whether it's a child or an adult. And then we tend to work and just be like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta go. And we're figuring ourselves out. We're figuring what our purpose is on this planet, this life, right? That was just amazing. Why did you go into the army? Because you were having success, but I think, was there was it a purpose? Were you looking to find something? Were you looking for answers? Because I feel like that's a really important part of the story here.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that. I've spent a lot of therapy dollars in being able to, talk about these things very candidly, because for a very long time I had no one to talk to and I had nothing to discuss, because whenever you brought something up like this, it was like, either I was pushed away or I was instantly branded as the dude to, like, yo, careful, or it just they weren't interested. So
Or you're a
um
victim, or nobody cares about your story, or we don't talk
yeah,
about we don't talk about Bruno, right? We don't talk about that. That's how
100%.
they make you
And
feel.
on top of that, it was more like, from most of the way that society was coming at, rape and abuse and that type of stuff, was more that, the male is usually the aggressor. Whereas from my angle, it was the roles were reversed. So, I was a child, and the woman who was responsible for my safety and security was the one who was, the one who was doing these things. So in being able to, kind of process that and open it up and say, listen, you know what, this is how life is. Like, women are an integral part of society. I need to learn how to recommunicate with them. I need to learn how to overcome that trauma, right? So in the process of overcoming trauma in general, you never really know where you'll end up, because you have a lot of these things that you just need to go through, you need to process, and you need to own. And I was traveling Europe because I just was sick of the life that I, was forced to have built in Texas. Through it was just a whole bunch of unfortunate circumstances that I had ended up there, and I really felt like the energy over there was kind of fucked up, and I wasn't sure, you know, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. I had money, like at that point already. It wasn't like, like I had a nice car, I had a ranch, like it was cool, but I wasn't, I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like I didn't feel like I woke up in the morning and I loved what I was doing. You
Mhm.
know, like I didn't feel like I would wake up and I would be able to, go to sleep saying, wow, this was an amazing day. I was just doing this cycle, and I love doing this cycle. I love the boredom and the repetition of the work that it takes to get towards success. But in order to stay, and have that repetition, you need to have that carrot that you're looking at in front of you, which is like, hey, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. And if you don't have one, you can't have the other. And if you have one and you don't have the other, it's not going to work.
That's
So, yeah, it's impossible. And that's where I was. I didn't really trust the whole idea of mentors and things like that, because I was screwed over by a really, really big name in Dallas. And I was forced to kind of evolve again and build this all over on my own. So I ended up in Israel on a fluke. And I looked at myself at that time. There were two terrorist attacks that happened like right around the corner from where I was staying, literally within a week. And I was like, okay, listen, like, either I'm going to now spend the next 2 or so years of my life regretting the decision of joining the army, or I'm going to spend the rest of my life regretting the fact that I never gave myself a shot. And that's how I live my life. I live my life like, what is going to happen in 10 years from now if I'm going to look back at myself and I had this opportunity and I didn't take it, you know, and where am I going to short myself? Because at that point in my life, I was done with shorting myself. At a certain point, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, bro, fuck this. Like, I am over it. Like, I am, whatever I got to do, however I got to make it happen, I am going to do it. And in the beginning, it's like, it's hard because I was almost 85 pounds heavier than what I am today, and I had these aspirations of getting to where I wanted to go. And throughout all of, navigating all those things in a bureaucratic, very non-bureaucratic, country that speaks a different language and has different everything, to be able to navigate my way there and finish with honors as a sergeant was something that had really built out a lot of my, what I would say, my character today, a lot of the conviction that I have today. It really had given me that opportunity to reform myself, literally trial under fire. I mean, fire, like, pew pew fire. And it became very fun to be able to look at situations and things that, people were overwhelmed and people were scared and people were nervous, and be that voice of reason. Because that was my training. My training was to help mobilize the entire battalion of 800 plus soldiers and 20 plus commanders. So there's communications, there's navigations, there's strategy that's involved. And then you always are going to have those people that are going to have emergencies and problems. So in between running up and down those long two lines of hundreds of people, trying to make sure that everything is running and everything is going, and carrying 80% of my body weight, you still got to make sure that you're not going to trip and you're not going to fall and you're moving so quickly. And at a certain point, I never really even paid attention to what's at my feet. I just was paying attention to who I got to see and who I got to tap. And the first couple of times that I had this, I tripped. I tripped and I fell halfway down a mountain backwards, and my leg got stuck like in a reed upside down, and the two quad muscles that I have, they popped. And I was told that I would never come back to combat in the Army, and that I should get ready for the next 8 months in the kitchen. And I looked at them and I was like, yo, check this out. The kitchen's not the place I want to be, because if I wanted to, I'd be back in America. So you're going to tell me how I'm going to show you that I'm physically capable to continue going, and I'm going to be physically capable to continue going. And they were like, okay, perfect. Like run a 3K, which is like 1.8 and a little bit miles in 10 minutes. And I'm like, really? Like, that's a lot of running in a very short amount of time. Like, I don't know, but lucky for us, where we happen to be like literally in the most northern spot at that time of the state of Israel, where, civilians and stuff aren't allowed to go. It's very, very high up, and it's very rocky, mountainous terrain with paved paths. And over there is where I, was hobbling over and starting to practice, rebuild my muscles. There weren't any, therapists. There weren't any, doctors. There weren't any of that stuff, because we were military, and the check-ins with the doctor, you literally had to wait the roster, and because there were 1,000 people in the unit, there was only one doctor. You see where I'm going with this, right? So I kind of had to force myself to break out of that and to continue, pushing myself along that. 90 days later, I was back, and I finished, and I finished in combat. And this was one of those things that it continued reinforcing the journey, because mentally I was there. Physically, my body was like, this is Joe, you got to slow down a little bit. You a big guy. But when it came to that, my brain was able to really force my body to continue going. And then when I finished the Army, I was in commercial finance. I didn't like the heart of that in the business. I didn't like that. There's no heart.
Well, I think what you just said is a really great segue into why we're here today. 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And been able to just share a story that if people who are listening can already pick up on your resilience and the mindset and the mental, like how you pushed yourself mentally, and when you were there mentally but you weren't there physically. Sometimes even in our career today, we're there physically but we're not there mentally. So I think that all that you just shared is so important to what we're about to segue into after you decided to, get the military and you parted ways. But like just you being able to take that risk and everything you've overcome up until that point, I think prepared you for what you are doing today. And I think everyone has a story, has those moments in their life they could look back when they had to overcome adversity and push themselves. It's no different than in real estate, right? And what we're all going through right now, it might be some uncertainty for some. Some people are thinking like, oh my God, this is hard. Well, there's hard shit in life that we go through. And you've overcome so many hard things. Real estate is actually not that hard. You said something earlier about boring, right? Falling in love with the mundane, the task, the repetition. And it is really one of the number one formulas to being successful in real estate. A lot of people just think they got to do a bunch of different things. And, like there's no true formula, but it's usually in the consistency and the habits and the boredom, right? And you were in the military, and right, you trained over and over and over and over again for that mission that might not happen, but you're prepared happens. And you've got to manage a lot of things. You've got to take a lot of things into consideration. You were preparing yourself for what you're doing today, obviously. 90K in 90 days, you got into commercial financing, then real estate. You decided to get into real estate with the concept of being a modern day agent for a couple different reasons. They could get the book, right? If they want to know the whole story. But just anybody who's listening, because we've got about 10 to 12 more minutes, is like, what is it that is going to change an agent's game if they decide today to become a modern agent, a modern day agent, right? And say, I'm going to crush the next 90 days. Like, what are those habits? Now, we know that you have work ethic that is absolutely amazing, but what can they do based on what you guys do, and how do you do it? Because you've actually accomplished way more than I've ever seen agents do in sometimes 10 years of their career.
Thank you very much. Coming from someone like you, that's it's humbling. I'll tell you this, right? A lot of people that are looking for, like, a lot of people who are watching this right now, you're looking for the secret. You're looking for that, hey, Joe, like, what are you going to tell me that I'm now going to get off of this Zoom and I am now going to, it's, and let me tell you right now, whatever I'm gonna tell you right now ain't gonna do that. So let me set your expectations. This is how it is. What I'm gonna tell you right now is gonna require work. Okay. When I got into the business in the beginning, my first sale, the way that I made that sale, just so you get where I'm going with this, I was wearing something very similar to this shirt. It was my, that bar that we wear with the name and the brokerage, my realtor tag. And I was walking my vent dog here in the street. And I was saying hi to everybody, and I was getting everybody's name. Hey, I'm Joe. I just moved here. What's your name? What street do you live on? Right. Oh, that's such a cool dog. Oh my God, they're friends already. Right. And we had that little kind of conversation. And I did that every single day for 30 days. It was one of those things that I did. Right. Probably about 3 weeks into it, I had met somebody who was walking over here who, after the whole story, they connected me with their husband. Their husband came and saw a house with me like 3 days later. That was my first sale. My first sale was for $995,000. So that's how I got my first deal. So just so you see kind of where I'm going with this, every single thing that you do, everywhere you go, you are a lead generation magnet. That's the way I look at myself. That's why I wear my branded hat.
Well, you wear the same shirt and the same hat every day consistently. You meet new people every single day. No matter how ridiculous you might feel, whether you're going to get rejected or not. Like, these are the simple things. I hope people are listening, because this is the simple things that you're like, oh, I can do that. So you mean to tell me I meet new people? I add new people to my database. I'm connecting with people on a relationship. I heard the part where you said, oh, your dog is so cute, right? So you're making real connections with people. So for the people who are looking for, like, oh my God, what's the secret formula? Guys, the simple shit works. It's so simple. Okay, so 30 days, you did that for 30 days, going and growing your business by meeting people and
also making it a point to connect with people digitally. So we have the system called the 5x5x5. And if you've ever, been with anybody who's trying to help you join, or build up your social media, there's a chance that they offer you some sort of version of this. The 5x5x5 is 5 new connections and messages, 5 new contacts, 5 days a week. And this is strictly on social media. So social media, the reason why I love Facebook is because I can get out there and I can now talk to 6,500 followers and 5,000 friends in about a minute, because all I got to do is download what's in my head and put that out there on the platform. And because people know that the shit that I put out is valuable, people will engage with it. That's how it works. I've built myself as somebody who is valuable because I've proven that I'm consistent. And the way that I've proven I'm consistent is by getting out there every morning and, saying hello to the same people. People are very awkward when you meet them a second, a third, and a fourth time. It's kind of like you've seen them, and it's like, hello, like, I'm just getting to know you, bro. And people that like aren't used to the real connection. They're not used to really connecting with people. So by being authentic and smiling the same way every morning, when I go to I hate shopping for groceries, but I make it a point to go to the grocery store 2 days a week. Because when I go to the grocery store, I'm literally just going to buy water bottles, or I'm going to buy eggs, or I'm going to buy something that I don't necessarily need, but I need it. But like, it's not an emergency, but I need it. And I'll make it a point to go and just buy 1 item or 2 items because I literally hate shopping. But I will make it a point to talk to every single person that I see in the store because it's not real estate. Real estate is you get very hardwired, and you're just like, you want to buy a house, want to sell a house, you want to rent, how can I help you, right? Whereas more, it's like, no, hey man, what's going on? I'm Joe, and you don't
And
even
that
have
is
to.
so genuine of you. Like I literally, you're like, I've been at multiple events. You're introducing yourself to everyone. Hey, all you people who think like people like me and Joe that we're obnoxious, that we're like weird, we're actually not. We're actually just, that's we're feeling our heart. Like we love people. We just
Yeah.
genuinely love people. So if we actually say, hey, how you doing? It's, I genuinely care about how you're doing. Like I want to get to know you. You're one relationship away from your business and your life changing. You never know
Yes.
who you're going to meet. You never know, but you got to say hi. You got to say hello. You got to be able to connect with people. Of course, some people are introverted. Maybe they struggle with that. But like you and I,
That's okay. Be weird. Like that's the thing. People are so nervous about what the perception is gonna be of me. It's like, dude, I don't care. I don't care what you think of me. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm giving you an opportunity to know me. If you don't, if you don't want to know me, that's cool. But you're going to be bombarded with all of my Facebook retargeting ads because we were within 5 feet of each other. So, and I mentioned my name,
behind that.
right? So either way, you're going to see me. You know what I mean? And then at a certain point, it's like another big reason why people are scared is because they're scared of what people see online about them. They're scared of the image that they're putting out. They're scared about what if someone's going to judge me? What if someone's going to tell me? The first time you made big moves in your business and you announced certain things, there were people who directly, they didn't even hide it. They just came out straight at you. And when I did that, people come straight at you. But here's the deal. The more conviction you have in what you're doing and the more belief that you have in yourself, right? And here's how you create belief in yourself. You create belief in yourself by doing the shit you say you're going to do. Most people will turn around, you'll go, I just came back yesterday. I was at Coach Bert's Lodge for 3 days, right? And I was there and I had a goal of what I wanted to do. And as I was sitting there, I literally had my computer open and I was sending emails to my team, in order to get things done. And I came over to him at the end of the event and I was like, yo, so tomorrow I'm going to send you boom, 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 boom. And he's like, how? And I said, don't worry, we got it, right? And later on this afternoon, I'm going to send him an email with all of the things that I said we're going to do. So how do you think that's going to make me look to him, right? Obviously, this is a guy, he's going to be like, yo, dude, this guy Joe's legit as fuck, right? Now, how's that going to look to a client when I turn around and every single morning, same thing without fail, I'm walking my dog and saying, hey, what's going on? How's everything? When I go to the store, it's like, even to the cashier, let's say it's 9 o'clock and the store closes at 10. I go, hey, how's your day going? Right? They go, it's coming along. And I go, oh my God, you've got 58 minutes left. It's all good, right? And everybody kind of laughs. And it's all about, like, even at the bank or wherever you go, wherever I go, the idea is to get somebody to laugh. The idea is to get somebody to smile. The idea is to get somebody to change their mental state of where they are right now of I hate my job. So that was pretty cool because when you move people's mental states, you create a new energy. And that energy, because you are in that space, you are collecting part of that energy. And if you think that I actually enjoy going and knocking hundreds of doors and talking to hundreds of people and being told no, I don't. I love it. Why do I love it? Because I know that every opportunity that I have to talk to or be in front of somebody, I can now change them. I can be responsible for something that is going to impact them. It can be something like they can say, hey, listen, you know what? I hate all people. It's possible, but very, very few and far between do I get people to that point, right? Usually there's some sort of conversation. There's some sort of way. Everybody wants to be listened to. Everybody wants to be heard. So all you got to do when someone opens the door is say, hey, how's your day going? That's it. Just open and shut up. Because when you give people the opportunity to talk, people will tell you what they need from you.
Yes.
We have to stop guessing as agents what people need. What do sellers need? What do buyers need? We don't know. We know what our clients need based off of what they tell us when we first have our initial conversation with them. So when we give them the opportunity to talk, which I've listened to a call, as we're building out our team here, by the way, if you're tuning in here from Miami and you're interested in like leveling up your business, hit me up after this. But when it comes to, really like sitting down and having that buyer's consultation, right? Most people, they'll go and they'll say, listen, we've sold 1,000 homes this year and we're the number one real estate team here in Miami. And we are the most powerful and we are the best and we can help you out and we'll sell your house in 10 days. And boom, right? And you're like, okay, well, actually, I don't think we're ready to sell our house right now. have a good day, right? Had I given him the opportunity to talk, I would have known that they have a divorce going on. They need a divorce attorney. They're trying to figure everything out. They don't have a trust. They don't have a will. They don't have all those documents. So me using my experience, there's a very big chance that I had said, hey, why hasn't your home sold yet? And then they go, oh, well, we're not ready to sign a contract yet just because of the fact that we're going through divorce. I go, oh, well, can I help you with that, right? And that's how I would have gotten that lead. But instead, I was so busy on telling them how awesome and amazing and great I am that they don't give a shit. They've never met me. They never will call me back again. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, instead, I'm calling and I go, hey, it's Joe Brikman with EXP. I was reaching out to you because your home is no longer for sale. Is there anything that I can do to help you out in order to help you bring you towards your end goal of selling your home? Now, sometimes people don't pick up and sometimes people will hang up 5 seconds into it, but that's cool because I'm going to get that one person who goes, yeah, actually you can. And I go, that's fantastic. I'll be in your area later on this afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. Can we meet at 5:30? And they'll go, yes. And I'll show up there and I'll stick a sign in their yard and I'll sell their house.
I love that.
And I've done that before and I'll do it again. And the way I've done that is by building out these relationships, right? By giving people the opportunity to talk and letting them share what they want to say and then letting them guide you as to how you can help them.
You said something so interesting when you were saying, do you think I enjoy, knocking on hundreds of doors? And, I think the typical person was expecting you to say no. And you turned around and you says, I love it because of what's on the other side of it, a relationship, someone that I can help, someone that I get to connect with, and you get to solve someone's problem. I think it's just a mindset shift that people have to have, and that's the difference between what I consider the elite and the people who simply look at things as a blessing instead of a burden. And, we are rewarded so well in this industry when we do it the right way. And some people still are rewarded even though they don't do a good job. But, it is such an amazing industry when you become really great at your craft. But here's the thing. The difference between someone who's just doing it to do it and someone who loves what they do, who's passionate about what they do. And your passion is absolutely inspiring and amazing. I always try to keep the integrity of the show to about 30 minutes, but this is so much goodness and so much fire, right? That, we're a little over, but Joe, that was just so amazing just to hear all that comes into all the things that are important in your mindset and all the things that you do day to day to run your business. But that is really the formula to 90K in 90 days, putting in the work, loving what you're doing the hard shit, not letting rejection get to you, even though you're going to get rejected. Here's the thing, guys, you will get rejected over and over and over again. I have gotten rejected so many times. I have been rejected. I have been humiliated. I have been betrayed. I have had to do so many things. But when I look at it now as the Veronica that I am today, I'm like, what a blessing. That was a blessing. That was a lesson. That was a blessing. That was a lesson. But it was what I did during all of that. I kept going. No matter what, I kept going. I said, what did I learn from it? What could I have done better? What are the things that I need to do to become, a better person, a better leader, a better community pillar? And my business just kept on growing. I got into rooms that were absolutely mind-blowing. And I see you getting in those rooms. I see you, boo. I see you in those rooms. I know you drove all the way to Florida, from Florida to Tahoe. And I know you got in the room with some of the best leaders and you felt so uncomfortable in that room, but comfortable in that room because there is always discomfort when you're in the rooms with big thinkers. But yet you said, I belong in that room. And you were the most curious. You grabbed the mic a million times. You asked a million questions that you're saying, look, guys, I'm sorry. You guys might already know this, but I'm just soaking this moment in because I want to learn and I'm going to go back and do this. And I'm just so inspired by you. But that's what people don't get. You are not average. You can't play average if you expect to be great in this business. So for those people who are like, oh, I care about what people think, or, oh, this is hard. It's always going to be hard, but it's how you think about it. I love hard shit because that's where the breakthroughs happen. It just keeps me going and it unlocks things that I was like, oh.
Yeah, I never saw that one coming.
It's
100%. Yeah, it's the thing is with these things is that, in any room that I go to, right, it's really, I'm trying to not be the smartest person in the room. I'm trying to go to every single person, connect every single person. And that it's so funny how Like people will pay shitloads of money to go and train and go and be in meetings and stuff like that, but then they'll come home and they won't do anything.
That's the other thing I was going to say. All right, so I'm going to wrap up with this. You are such an action taker. You sent me your team breakdown, build out. You're like, all right, like you said, I'm going to build a team. I said, I'm going to hold you accountable. Let's do this. You come back not even a week later with this sexy team layout, presentation, everything from mission statement, core values. And it was just so sexy. I mean, it was rolled out beautifully. On top of that, you're like, give me feedback. What can I improve on it? And, you're so coachable. That's the thing, guys. You got to be coachable in this business. Joe, you're coachable, but you take action. And when those two meet, it's game over. Game over. Team is growing, team is popping, team is now on its way. And you're just so you just said it. The credibility that you have is because of the action that you take and how you show.
So when a seller turns around and asks me, hey, how do I know you're the best one for the job? It's like, listen, have you seen my sign up the street? Like, that's how we do it. And let's let this go. The biggest inspiration that I had was a story that I heard of a woman who split her time between 2 different cities. And she would come back here to Florida just to kind of, spend time with her people and stuff. And one day she got sick of having to be driven around. So she woke up one morning and just bought a car. And not just any old car, but like a really gorgeous, beautiful car, V8, powerful and everything. And she was able to do that on a whim without having to worry about anything. She woke up one morning and decided she wanted a car, and she was able, I'm talking about you. And she did that because, you were literally just able to go and spend that money without having to think twice. And that, was something to me that I was like, whoa, holy crap. Like, that's the level we're playing at, and that's where we're trying to go. So for any agents that are in Orlando and Miami, here in Florida, that there's anything that any of us can help out, I've sent quite a few people to your team this week that are all talking.
Thank you. Actually, I had a conversation with a rock star, and she said, Joe told me to call you, that if I wanted to take my career to the next level, that I needed to talk to you. And I was just so blessed for that. But like I said, we're always just one relationship away from our lives changing and becoming better and becoming more fulfilled and enriched and learning. So, hey, Joe, you've been amazing this morning. Actually, the comments are fired up. People are excited. I think you're going to hear from a lot of people. Where can people find you? Where can they follow you? And then I'll tell them where they can follow us.
Totally. So if you want to just make it super easy, you can Google my name, type the name Joe Brikman into Google, and you will pull up all of my stuff on the first page of Google. So that'll all pop up. It's the best way to do that. If you want to find me on Facebook, you have my profile tagged right here. And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Gotta Call Joe, Gotta, like, because we from New York. So Gotta Call Joe.
I love that. And of course, you are the founder of The Modern Day Agent. And guys, go get his book. He's amazing. And of course, I'm your host, Veronica Figueroa. Love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in to Fire Friday. Make sure you follow us. Hit me up on IG. Give me a follow. Give me a like. Find us on YouTube. I don't know. Tell us if you love this stuff and share it. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next Fire Friday.